Central Library Building. Good afternoon, Central Library Building. I'm trying to connect you.
It's who? Oh, yes. Thank you. Well, okay, it'll have to be done, not so. All the books that we've got in here belong to the people out there because they pay their rates for the library. You've got to be sure that you spend that money accurately. This in the early 70s, libraries took a change from being just holier than thou, quiet please and don't speak. We became librarians like to call themselves cultural and educational centres. I think we have become that in the true sense of the word now. People have begun to realise that the information that they're seeking, as well as the recreation that they're seeking, is available in libraries.
Well, I like Howard Spring, Daphne du Maurier, and a lot of the old ones.
This is a very good book. I'm trying to find out how to pay. I really am.
Got some about Egypt.
About Egypt?
Yeah, because got to do some history homework about Tutankhamun. He was an Egyptian king. So he was first on the throne when he was 9 years old, but he died when he was 18. As when the people who found him did find him, he had a sort of cut in his leg which had been stitched up, and he had a walking stick. These wisdom teeth had just come through.
For the concerts that are advertised on here, the Northern Symphonia and the others.
I put the tempers in here, you see.
Right.
This lights.
Well, just that they won't let me have one of their books back, which is rotten. I'm in the middle of a dissertation. So, well, I've had them for 6 months, you know. It's not running properly.
Nice mush.
The Emma baby was big quiet.
We breed our own fish. Ken Dixon is an excellent fishman. We have 3 caretakers, Ed Davison, Ken Dixon and Dick Jones. They operate from this room. No, he's not, I mean, he doesn't look after tropical fish, you know. I've had some problems at home with one of my goldfish, and he just knows a lot about fish.
You pick it up, you know, it's mostly what I've written out of a book, actually, so it'll tell you how interesting, you know, for to get up the library. Most of it tell you the truth, like.
Well, David Whale, he's what we call our bibliographical services officer. He is one who takes care of the coordination of the material which is available throughout South Tyneside libraries.
Nobody, I think, can teach you how to select books for a particular place. I mean, if I went from here to another authority, I would not be able immediately to select the stock for that place. You can evaluate books, you know, you can be taught through college and everything else to evaluate books, what to look for, what is a good book on the subject. But that doesn't teach you whether or not that book is needed in that library.
This is the list that comes to me as a copy with all the branches on and also centres, the books that they want to buy. So what I then do is make out an order card for each book. That then goes in the order files, which are like this. This is the official instructions to the supplier, saying exactly what the list is. David signs it here.
Right.
And then it goes up to the post room.
One deals with the ordering side, you know, from the approvals and the lists and things like that. And my responsibility starts when the books actually come into the building. The first job is, in actual fact, is to unpack the books, check them against the invoice and put them on the shelf.
Okay. That's the jury. These are the books. Well, 000 to 900. We start off at 000, which is generalities 000. And you go right up to 999, will you believe? Travelling out of space, I believe. Extraterrestrial words. I get the book first of all, and I look at it. Hollywood. Usually what I do is I read the blurb to see what it's about. This one happens to be about making films. There's a couple of numbers that you can use, but the actual number that I prefer is the number for films. 791.4, 312. Just about it.
Is there ever been anything you just haven't been able to get?
Oh yes, yes.
Really?
Yes. Actually, I had one, when was it? Oh, about 6 months ago, and it was the story of the iceberg that sank the Titanic. And it was amazing, and it was all about life in the Arctic, you know, and about this iceberg, how it broke away from the ice cap at Spitsbergen and travelled south. But at the time it was charting its path that they thought it might have taken. But what was happening up in the Arctic at the time, and it was all about these expeditions going on, the birds, the animals and all this, what was happening over at Holland and Wolf's with the ship, how the ship eventually set off across the Atlantic, the iceberg met it, and that was it, boom. And I spent my lunchtimes for about a fortnight reading that book, trying to work out what to do with it, and I actually ended up putting it in the number for the Arctic. So what I'll have to do with that, because we don't do anything with that, just put fiction on there. And I'll pass it over for Catherine there, who deals with the fiction.
Sort them in alphabetical order, and then I put them in the catalogue out in London.
And Anne Scott is Central Adult Lending Services Librarian. At home you don't like the books you get, tell her. If you don't like the records you get, tell her. And if you don't like the Central Lending Library, tell her, don't tell me.
Obviously the fact that the amount of staff that we have got, to make it fair in the way of rota days off during the week and late nights and all that sort of thing. Everybody actually is on a shift system. They're done on a daily basis when Betty actually drafts the timesheet up for that day. When she's actually doing a timetable for that day, she makes sure that everybody has a fair turn. For example, that obviously somebody who's in desk all night, say if they're working a late night and they're in desk from 4:30 till 7, there's no way we would have them in desk on an afternoon. Saturday staff, they're paid weekly.
You have to wait for it.
So how...
Generally, they just ring in here, you know, or upstairs. Social services ring in quite a lot. Once or twice we've had doctors note there was the son or daughter call in. And then I call out, hopefully within the next couple of weeks, and have a word with them, find out what sort of books they like. Example would be 3 or 4 novels, some historical, 4 Mills and Boon. We'll just write them on the corner there, and it's just a quick check for Yvonne and myself. You know, for this is a gentleman who takes the books.
Il fait si froid dehors, ici c'est confortable. And some can't sing at all, but how we love our outings to the Royal Albert
We're ready.
How are you feeling, Bill? My son will think my throat's cut.
Susan having a snap. How about you? We've just got the dregs left on the table. That's like Susan and thank
That's the trouble. Well, that's what I want to be. I want to be free.
She's there again.
This is Margaret, our lovely tea lady.
Oh, that's nice.
What's the tea like here, Wendy?
Very nice.
Julie Clark is the Borough Children's Librarian. She coordinates all the children's work in the borough because, of course, we do have a library in every school.
We go out and promote the books in the schools that we have in the public libraries and try and interest the children in joining the public library. So we go out and show them what books we've got to offer them and try and get them interested in reading. Because we feel that reading for pleasure needs to be promoted as much as reading for a purpose to find out things. Just the joys of reading.
We do normally do the project requests here. So they just ring up and, you know, any topic they want, we'll put up a kit. And then I get the books to go with it. Right. Well, they can order individual packs of slides. They all have a catalogue of everything that we've got. For these, the other books which are at the top end of the room, they actually go out into schools and stay. You know, they only send them back when they absolutely have to. Then they go out to the school. Book a week.
What sort?
Adventure books and that, and mysteries. Alfred Hitchcock.
The Secret of Terror Castle.
Please. Snowman.
There's another one by him. But Fungus the Boogeyman will be in here.
Go on, choose a book. Choose a book. Come on, it's time to go home. Choose a book.
Right, let's get this one. Any you'll have on this one.
What's in there? Is it a doggy? What is it?
Cat. He's only. Bar.
Bar. That's right.
Bar.
Oh, they love the library.
Mildred Whale. She's the reference librarian. She's responsible for the educational side of the library.
Why do you find the library useful?
Because it's very quiet. And it's good just to come down and work in.
We've got an extremely fine local history collection, and it staggers me just how many people use it.
For the earlier stuff, about 1700s, this is through there. But then this part of the local history department, the fact that you don't throw anything away, therefore it's a continuing problem of storage.
Dorothy received this from the Port of Tyne Authority. You can see the state it's in. Now, what will happen to this is we'll send it away. Preservation people who sort of take the thing apart, clean it all up, and then they laminate it.
Even in the 1830s, people could still be, almost dragged away from straight off a ship, and the press gang would get them and then go straight out again. And this would be, not a 6 months voyage. This you would sign on, probably for a few years. You will literally never feel dry land underneath your feet for quite a long time.
Is it better to be in the library, you think, or be impressed?
Yeah, if you're in the library, you have been impressed.
Local history, we're concerned with anything at all of any local interest, and I suppose the deciding rule is if it was 100 years old, would people be interested in it? Recently, there's been a great upsurge in people doing family history, and we have all the records which we aren't able to have the originals of. We have microfilm copies.
Abbott is my deputy, and he helps me in two ways. If I want a piece of information, he can retrieve it immediately. He's got a good mind for ordering. Things don't go well, sometimes I usefully forget it, but Dave will say, hey, don't you remember when we did so-and-so? Well, this could be a little bit similar, and perhaps we should do this, that and the other. And he's great.
The idea is it enables us to get into other people's databases, like our book suppliers, so we can find out what is available immediately rather than wait weeks for them to reply to us, and also to be able to get into the database of the British Library, so we can get our reservations more quickly, we can identify them faster.
Use a computer to help you find books. Yeah.
When we get the computer, this counter will be pulled down, and in fact what we'll have is we'll have a very small counter here, and we'll have a very small counter here, and that's all there'll be. And then there'll be the VDUs on the counters, and people just come in and pass their books back, and that's all there is to it.
This is my generation.
1965.
Oh, well, I mean,
to Evelyn will go back.
I started, what, 55? 1955?
So they had to be 7. I mean, now they can have a book from being a baby.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and of course children weren't really allowed in the adult parts, I mean, used to have sort of wooden benches just as you went into each department where they could sit.
I remember sitting there every day when I used to
and I mean,
work
it
my
was, you know, they were very strict about, you know, sort of how quiet they had to be. And,
yes, it's not quite the way it used to be.
So, I mean, that has changed.
Readers' inquiries.
Yes. I think just dealing with public, I think that's you know, sort of, well, I mean, that is the main part of the job after all, isn't it?
There you are. That's your lot.